Hi, I'm Kay Newman, and I'm just putting out some of my experiments from this month. I've played a little bit with alcohol inks and pigment powders, which I sometimes call mica powders, texture sheets, and some teardrop shaped cutters. And I'm also really working on finding nickel-free and copper-free earring wires because that's a problem for me. So I know it's got to be a problem for other people. I started out by just putting some alcohol inks on some baked clay that I already had just to see the effects it made. And it was really different. Some of them were very shiny, and in some cases, the colors mixed in a way that I didn't really expect. But what I really liked was the mica powder on raw clay and then alcohol ink on the baked. And then I made a couple of experiments with some other kind of clay. I don't know if we'll ever see those again. They didn't turn out exactly the way I wanted. I'm going to put links to these other videos when I get a little more organized because I really appreciate other people putting such great content out there that saves me time. The things that really made a difference in my round of experiments this month was just putting saran wrap over the cookie cutters so that you get a nice rounded edge. The second one was to actually put the pattern sheets through the pasta machine. I've been doing this for years and I have never known that, and I just needed to cut my pattern sheets small enough to go through the pasta machine. The third one was to use a wooden block to press down on the top of the cookie cutter. And I have some problems with my joint, so I really appreciated that tip. It made it work better and it didn't hurt my hands. And then the last one was just to use a little spritzer bottle with water in it as something to keep the clay from sticking. I've tried a lot of other things and the water just worked amazingly well. So I used all of those tips in this month's experiments. As I said, my favorites were the using a pattern and then cutting it out with the cookie cutter with the saran wrap over it, and then applying some mica powder to the raw clay and then putting on alcohol inks after they were baked. So all three of these were gold clay. This had some blue and then a yellow top for the alcohol. And then this one was gold clay with blue mica powder and then a blue-green alcohol ink when it came out of the oven. And basically all of these were just playing and experimenting. But this is kind of the after I tried a few, this is the set I ended up with, which is spritz the pattern sheet with water and then roll the sheets thin. On mine that was like a number 3, and then lay them back to back so that you have pattern on both sides, and then put saran wrap over the clay and then cut it with the cutter with the saran wrap still in place. And since I intend to do, I don't know how many until I get bored, earrings, I wanted a way that I could repeat the successes that I'd had. A couple things that I learned is, one thing is that I didn't really like the outcome if I didn't have a deep pattern. So with this one, this was before I figured out to put the pattern sheet through the pasta machine, and it's just not really as definite of a pattern as I wanted it to be. And you'll be able to see on this next little set here, this is where I put the pattern sheet through the pasta machine, and it just makes such a huge difference to have a really nice deep pattern. And the other thing I learned is that I like the mica to be on the raw clay and the alcohol inks on the baked clay. So those are a few of the things that I learned, and so this is kind of my my wrap up of what I'll be doing in the future. Start with a deep texture, and when you do the mica powder, I found that I really like it a lot more if I take the time to be careful, so that the mica powder is only on the top layer. And then I really liked the effects a lot more of having the alcohol ink after the baking. So here, that's what I did this month, and I hope that it's a little bit helpful to someone else.